The sky above Earth had never seemed so quiet. People looked up in wonder, unaware of the storm approaching from the depths of space. On the edge of the solar system, a fleet unlike anything humanity had ever seen moved with perfect coordination. These were the ships of the Varix Galactic Empire, a force that had conquered hundreds of planets in their reach, believing that no world could resist them. They had chosen Earth because it looked small, insignificant, and vulnerable dot in cities. Across the planet, life went on as usual. Children played in parks, families shared meals, and workers hurried through crowded streets. Satellites above Earth hummed silently, sending constant streams of data back to monitoring stations. That day, the satellites picked up something unusual. Blips appeared on the radar, moving too fast and in formations too precise to be meteors. Scientists stared at the screens, their hearts racing. They had trained for many emergencies, but nothing in history had prepared humanity for what they were seeing. Governments scrambled into action. Alarms rang in underground bunkers. Military officials, scientists, and engineers moved through corridors, filled with blinking lights and low hums of energy generators. The threat was unlike any other. Messages were sent instantly across the globe. Humans on every continent began to realize that this was no ordinary threat. This was an invasion. Despite the fear, there was no panic. Humanity had changed in secret. For decades, scientists had worked on projects hidden from the world, quietly building technology that even humans themselves sometimes doubted would work. They had learned from the smallest details of nature, from quantum physics to the strange properties of light and gravity. Now, those technologies were ready. They were hidden in cities, mountains, deserts, and oceans, waiting for the moment. They would be needed. That moment had arrived. The Varix ships hovered over the atmosphere, preparing their attack. From orbit, the alien commanders studied Earth and its defenses, or what they thought were defenses. Their sensors told them little, but their pride told them everything they needed to know. Humans were weak, unarmed, and easy to destroy. In their arrogance, they had underestimated the one species they could not fully understand. On the ground, people were noticing strange phenomena. The sky shimmered with faint colors, almost like heat waves on a summer day, and the air hummed with energy that humans could feel but not see. Pilots in fighter jets scrambled to their stations, but when they reached the clouds, they found the sky already filled with a strange light. It was not dangerous, just strange. There were patterns, almost like symbols, stretching across the atmosphere, created by the invisible shields humans had activated without anyone outside the secret command knowing. From hidden bunkers, engineers watched the alien fleet move closer. They tapped into control panels, pressing buttons, twisting dials, and whispering commands into microphones. The technology was advanced, far beyond anything in the hands of the Varix. Quantum shields began to form around key cities, bending light to make the metropolises almost invisible from space. Stealth craft activated, invisible to the naked eye, and to the alien scanners. Gravity-based weapons hummed silently, waiting for a signal. Humanity had been preparing, quietly and meticulously, for exactly this moment. The aliens, confident in their superiority, fired a warning beam toward the Pacific Ocean. It was supposed to be a display of power, a reminder that the Empire was unstoppable. Instead, the beam vanished on contact with Earth's shields, dissipating into harmless light. On their ships, the Varix commanders were confused. Their calculations had been precise, their technology formidable, yet nothing seemed to work. They had never encountered a planet that could defend itself like this. Panic began to ripple through their ranks, though none of the human defenders could see it. From hidden stations, human pilots waited for the right moment. The signal came, a simple pulse that activated everything at once. Cloaked ships emerged. From low orbit, appearing suddenly in formations, that had been invisible moments before. Weapons that had been tested only in simulations now fired with deadly precision. Beams of energy struck the alien fleet, disabling their shields and engines. Before the aliens could react, entire formations of ships fell out of the sky like metal leaves in a storm, tumbling into the ocean or drifting into space, powerless. On Earth, people watched in awe as streaks of light appeared in the sky like shooting stars, though these were far more deadly. The first strike had been swift and surgical, leaving little time for chaos. Human command centers communicated in silence, coordinating attacks with a precision that only came from long practice and understanding of their own planet. The world was united, not by fear, but by a shared determination to survive, even as Oz. The Variks tried to regroup. They found themselves trapped in a situation they could not understand. Their advanced sensors failed to detect hidden human forces, and their analysis of Earth's capabilities had been based on arrogance, not knowledge. Every time they tried to fire another weapon, the humans were already one step ahead. It was not luck, it was planning, innovation, and the relentless human will to defend their home. On the surface, civilians had been moved to safe zones, though many did not even know the scale of the battle unfolding above them. Families huddled together in homes, listening to the hum of the energy shields and the distant rumble of ships passing overhead. They could sense something extraordinary happening, though the details remained hidden. Parents comforted children. Friends checked on each other, and strangers helped one another reach safety. In a way, humanity's strength was not just technology, it was resilience, courage, and unity. As hours passed, the alien fleet began to falter. Confusion spread among the Variks' ranks. Their signals jammed, engines failed, and weapons misfired. They had come to conquer a small, weak planet, but they had encountered a species that refused to yield. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had struck first with precision and decisiveness, teaching the invaders a lesson they would never forget. Even as humans celebrated in secret command centers, the leaders of the Variks' fleet realized something terrifying. Earth was not a planet to take lightly. Every assumption they had made about weakness, simplicity, and inferiority had been shattered. They had entered the solar system expecting an easy victory, and now they faced a force that could destroy entire fleets without mercy. The pride of the empire, built over centuries, began to crumble in hours. And yet, on the surface of Earth, life continued. People went about their day, unaware of the invisible battle raging above them. Birds flew across the sky, rivers flowed calmly, and the wind carried scents of flowers and rain. Humanity had shown its strength not through domination, but through quiet preparation, determination, and the will to survive. In that silence, the first part of the story of Earth's greatest victory had been written. By the end of the day, the Variks' commanders faced a new reality. They had underestimated humans in every possible way. Their calculations had failed, their weapons had faltered, and their arrogance had been shattered. They now had a choice: retreat or face complete annihilation. For the first time in history, the invaders had seen that the creatures they thought weak could think, adapt, and strike with incredible force. Humanity had not just survived, it had sent a warning, and deep in underground command centers, humans watched as the first phase of the battle came to an end. They knew this was only the beginning. The universe had underestimated them, and now humanity had begun to show what it was capable of. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: Earth was no longer a planet to be conquered. It was a planet to be reckoned with, and the story of its strength had only just begun. After the first encounter, the humans knew the battle was far from over. The Variks' galactic empire had underestimated them, but they would not accept defeat so easily. Even damaged, the alien fleet still posed a threat. Across Earth, leaders. Scientists and military strategists worked without pause. Humanity's hidden strength had revealed itself, but now it was time to show the Empire just how formidable Earth could be in underground command centers and high-tech control rooms. Teams coordinated movements with precision. Every city, every shield, every hidden base was connected. Humans were not just reacting, they were planning, predicting, and adapting. Engineers monitored energy grids, recalibrated weapons, and ensured that every system was functioning at peak efficiency. Even the smallest mistake could be catastrophic, yet humans moved with a calm confidence born from years of preparation not above Earth. The Varric ships began to regroup. Alien commanders communicated in a language humans could not hear, giving orders. That made no sense in the face of human technology. They tried to scan the planet for weaknesses, but every attempt failed. Earth's defenses were unlike anything in the galaxy. Cloaked ships darted silently across orbit, scanning for alien movements. Gravity-based weapons hummed softly, ready to strike the moment they were needed. Humans had turned every challenge into an opportunity, and the aliens were beginning to realize how dangerous that was. On the surface, people noticed subtle changes. Power grids in cities seemed stronger, communication systems faster, and the air almost vibrated with energy. Scientists explained it as a combination of natural phenomena and human-made technology, but the effect was unmistakable. Humans could feel it, even if they didn't fully understand it. There was a sense of unity, a shared determination that spread quietly among the population. Everyone knew they were part of something larger, something that could protect the planet. The Varric's fleet attempted to strike again, this time targeting major coastal cities. They believed that a sudden attack would cause panic and force humans into submission. Energy beams cut through the sky, moving with deadly precision, but Earth was ready. Quantum shields, invisible yet unbreakable, bent the beams harmlessly. Around buildings, the attack left no casualties, only a faint ripple of light across the oceans. Onlookers watched the spectacle, marveling at the strange display, unaware of how close the danger had truly come. Hidden in secret hangars, human pilots prepared their response. Ships that had once been experimental prototypes now gleamed with readiness. Every pilot knew their role. Every weapon system had been tested, and every movement had been calculated. When the signal came, they launched together in perfect synchronization. Invisible streaks of light cut across the sky as cloaked fighters emerged from shadows, striking the alien ships with accuracy that seemed almost impossible. The first wave of attacks disabled key enemy vessels. Gravity lances tore through hulls, and energy disruptors shut down alien engines instantly. Confusion spread among the Varric's ranks. They had expected humans to be weak and fearful, but instead they faced precision, coordination, and relentless determination. The Empire had fought countless wars across the stars, but never against a species that could think and adapt so quickly, that could use the planet itself as a weapon. Even as the battle raged above, humans on the ground played their part. Engineers monitored orbital strikes, adjusting shields and energy fields to protect cities. Scientists communicated with pilots, relaying information about enemy movements in real time. Military strategists coordinated defensive positions, ensuring that any alien landing attempt would fail began. Humanity had become a single organism, every part working together to protect the whole. The Varric's commanders, frustrated and angry, attempted to regroup their forces. They launched smaller ships to flank the human fighters, hoping to find a gap in the defenses. But humans anticipated their every move. Sensors tracked the smallest change in trajectory, and countermeasures activated instantly. Alien ships were disabled before they could reach their targets, their weapons neutralized by human technology that seemed almost magical to the invaders. On Earth, ordinary people began to realize the scale of what was happening. News reports described strange lights in the sky, satellites showed unusual patterns, and rumors spread of unseen forces protecting the planet. Families gathered, sharing stories and comforting one another. Even in fear, there was hope. Humanity was not alone. They had prepared for this moment for generations, and now their courage and ingenuity were on full display. As the battle continued, the humans showed another hidden strength: adaptability. The Variks tried new tactics, changing flight paths and targeting strategies, but humans adjusted instantly. Hidden satellites and drones relayed every movement to command centers. Orbital weapons fired precisely where they were needed, and cloaked ships responded to every maneuver. The aliens realized that Earth was not a static target. It was a living, thinking, and unpredictable force. The Variks fleet began to experience losses they could not understand. Their advanced technology failed against the human systems designed specifically to counter it. Entire groups of ships drifted helplessly in orbit, engines offline, weapons frozen. Panic spread among the aliens, a feeling unfamiliar to a species that had conquered countless worlds. They had underestimated humans at every turn, and now the consequences were evident. Meanwhile, humanity celebrated small victories. Every disabled alien ship, every neutralized weapon, was a reminder that preparation and unity could overcome even the most powerful enemy. Pilots returned to hidden hangars, engineers recalibrated weapons, and strategists adjusted plans for the next wave. It was a cycle of action and reaction, but humans had one advantage: they never gave up. Every challenge was met with creativity and resolve. Even in the chaos of battle, humanity's compassion remained. Civilians helped one another evacuate dangerous areas. Doctors treated the injured, and volunteers distributed supplies. The human spirit shone brightly, a reminder that strength was not just in technology or strategy, but in courage, resilience, and empathy. The aliens had believed that fear would control humans, but they had underestimated the true power of unity and determination. As the day progressed, the Variks began to realize something terrifying. Humans were not just defending, they were preparing to turn the tide. Orbital strikes became more coordinated, ground-based defenses more precise, and cloaked ships more aggressive. The aliens had faced resistance before, but never like this. They had never faced a species that could combine intelligence, creativity, and courage in such perfect harmony. In secret command centers, humans communicated across continents. Plans were shared instantly, resources redistributed, and energy grids adjusted. Every city contributed, every hidden base played a part, and every person, whether aware or not, became part of the defense. The planet itself seemed alive, a force in its own right, defending the species that called it home. By nightfall, the Variks fleet was battered and confused. Their morale faltered as they realized that Earth could not be taken by force. Every assumption about weakness and vulnerability had been shattered. Even their fastest ships could not escape the precise strikes of human forces, and every attempt to adapt was met with countermeasures that seemed almost impossible. They had come to conquer, but now they faced a force they could neither understand nor defeat easily. On Earth, the night sky shimmered with the aftermath of the day's battle. Streaks of light marked destroyed ships and scattered debris, a silent reminder of the fight that had taken place. Humans looked up in awe, knowing that they had survived something extraordinary. Engineers, scientists, and military leaders reviewed data, prepared for the next phase, and celebrated the victories without losing sight of the challenges ahead. Humanity had shown its strength, but the war was far from over, and in the shadows of space, the Variks commanders faced the harsh truth. Earth was not a weak planet to be conquered. It was a world full of resourceful, courageous, and united humans who could adapt, fight, and defend their home with unparalleled determination. Every calculation they had made had failed. Every expectation had been shattered. And now, for the first time, they began to fear what this species could do next. In homes, bunkers, and hidden stations, humans rested briefly, knowing that preparation never truly stopped. They were ready for the next challenge, ready to defend their planet, and ready to prove that humanity, when united, was a force no invader could underestimate. The second part of Earth's story of resistance had been written, a tale of courage, intelligence, and unity that would echo across generations. The Virix fleet, though damaged and confused, refused to retreat. They had never been defeated so quickly, and their pride would not allow it. They hovered over Earth, trying to assess the situation, to understand how this planet could fight back with such strength. But every sensor reading, every calculation, seemed wrong. Humans had technologies and strategies the aliens could not predict, and with every passing hour, Earth became more dangerous for them. On the surface, people were beginning to notice even more unusual phenomena. The skies shimmered in strange patterns, lights danced across the horizon, and a low hum filled the air. Scientists explained these as effects of human defense systems working in harmony with natural energy fields. Pilots and engineers coordinated silently, hidden from view, yet their impact was visible to anyone watching the sky. Civilians looked up, sensing that something extraordinary was happening, though they could not comprehend the scale of the conflict. In orbit, human forces began their next strike. Cloaked ships moved like shadows, appearing suddenly where the aliens least expected. Every attack was precise. Gravity lances tore through enemy hulls, disabling multiple ships at once. Energy disruptors jammed alien engines, leaving entire squadrons drifting helplessly. The Varix had never faced a species that could strike with such speed, accuracy, and coordination. For every maneuver the aliens attempted, humans were already 2 steps ahead, predicting their moves and neutralizing threats instantly. Even the most advanced alien weapons failed. Beams of energy dissolved harmlessly against human shields. Missiles disintegrated before reaching their targets. The Varix fleet began to fracture, with smaller groups breaking off in desperation. Confusion spread among the alien commanders. They had conquered planets with ease, but Earth was not like any other world. It was alive with intelligence, strategy, and determination that seemed almost impossible. Back on Earth, humans were not only defending, they were adapting. Engineers recalibrated weapons, adjusting them to counter new alien tactics. Scientists monitored alien signals, decoding patterns, and predicting the next move. Pilots changed flight paths mid-mission, creating diversions that drew the enemy into traps. Every action was calculated, every decision deliberate. Humans were proving that intelligence, creativity, and adaptability could defeat even the most powerful invader. On the ground, civilians watched in awe as streaks of light and explosions lit up the sky. Some did not understand what they were seeing, but the sense of hope was undeniable. Families comforted one another, friends shared what little information they had, and strangers helped each other reach safety. Humanity's strength was not only in technology, but in courage, resilience, and unity. The Varix had expected fear, chaos, and surrender, but what they found was determination, coordination, and an unbreakable spirit. The aliens, frustrated and enraged, attempted to regroup. They tried new attack formations, changing their approach in hopes of finding a weakness. But humans were ready for every strategy. Drones relayed information across continents, satellites tracked enemy movements, and orbital weapons struck with precision. Every alien maneuver was met with a counter, every attack neutralized almost before it began. The Varix began to realize that Earth was not just defending, it was controlling the battle, dictating the pace and the terms of engagement. Even in the chaos, humans showed ingenuity. Engineers deployed decoys that confused alien sensors. Pilots used maneuvers that exploited weaknesses in alien ship design. Scientists developed new energy pulses that temporarily disabled enemy weapons, giving human forces the advantage. The Variks had relied on brute force, but humans relied on intelligence, creativity, and the ability to adapt instantly. This combination was proving unstoppable. As the battle raged, the aliens' morale began to crumble. Ships that had once struck fear across the galaxy now floated helplessly, disabled by technology they could not understand. The commanders shouted orders that could not be executed, their pride turning to panic. They had come to conquer Earth, but instead they faced a species that refused to yield, a species that could fight back in ways they had never imagined. On Earth, leaders and strategists communicated across the globe. Every city, every base, every hidden facility contributed to the defense. Power grids were adjusted to protect key areas. Weapons systems were recalibrated to maximize efficiency, and intelligence networks relayed information instantly. Humanity had become a single organism, every part working together in perfect harmony. The planet itself seemed to join in the defense, every natural resource leveraged, every advantage used. The Variks tried to land forces on remote areas, hoping to establish a foothold. But humans had anticipated this. Hidden ground units, reinforced with energy shields and advanced weaponry, waited in strategic locations. Alien landing craft were intercepted before touching soil. Beams of energy disabled engines mid-flight, and ground teams neutralized soldiers without a single human casualty. The invaders realized they could not even set foot safely on the planet they had thought so easy to conquer. Even as humans achieved these victories, they remained calm and focused. No one celebrated too soon. No one underestimated the enemy. Engineers repaired minor damages, pilots restocked weapons, and strategists reviewed the situation for the next move. Every success was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to improve. Humans had learned that survival depended on adaptability, unity, and foresight. Above, orbital strikes continued. Cloaked ships moved silently, striking isolated groups of alien vessels with unmatched precision. Gravity lances tore through fleets, disabling entire formations. Energy disruptors jammed alien sensors, leaving ships blind and vulnerable. Every engagement was a demonstration of human ingenuity, courage, and the ability to use the planet itself as a weapon. The Variks began to realize they had underestimated not only humans, but the very spirit that drove them. On the ground, ordinary people contributed in small but meaningful ways. Communications specialists relayed critical information. Engineers repaired infrastructure, and volunteers ensured that essential supplies reached everyone in need. Even in the face of alien attacks, humans showed compassion, resourcefulness, and determination. It was clear that humanity's strength was not just in technology, it was in the people themselves. Courage, unity, and ingenuity had become their greatest weapons. As night fell, the battle shifted from chaos to control. Humans had gained the upper hand. Alien ships drifted helplessly in orbit, their engines disabled, their weapons neutralized. The Variks had lost control of the battlefield. Their pride had been shattered, their plans foiled, and their confidence broken. They had expected an easy conquest, but Earth had proven that intelligence, creativity, and unity could defeat even the most powerful invader. In command centers, humans reviewed the results of the day. Engineers recalibrated weapons for the next phase. Scientists analyzed alien technology to find further weaknesses. Pilots prepared for future strikes. And leaders coordinated every action with precision, ensuring that the next encounter would be even more effective. Humanity had not just survived the day, it had learned, adapted, and grown stronger. The Varix commanders, now desperate, began to realize the terrifying truth. Earth was not a weak, defenseless planet. It was a world of thinkers, innovators, and fighters, a species united by courage and intelligence. Every assumption they had made about humans was wrong. Every calculation had failed. And now, for the first time, they truly feared what might come next. Even as the aliens regrouped, humans did not rest. The planet itself seemed to aid them. Energy flows, natural forces, and human ingenuity combined to create a defense that was both overwhelming and invisible. Humans were not just surviving. They were shaping the battlefield, controlling the fight, and proving that they could never be underestimated. As the night deepened, the skies glimmered with the aftermath of battle. Streaks of light marked destroyed. Ships, floating debris drifted silently, and a sense of calm returned to cities and towns. Yet humans remained vigilant. Every success was a reminder of the stakes, every victory a lesson for the next challenge. The planet was safe for now, but the war had only just begun. The Varix fleet, battered and confused, was forced to retreat slightly. They needed to reassess, repair, and reconsider their approach. But humans knew that their enemy would return. They had seen the determination of the invaders, and they had learned that preparation, unity, and intelligence were their greatest weapons. The next encounter would come, but humanity was ready, stronger, and more determined than ever. In hidden command centers, humans communicated across continents, reviewing every moment of the battle. Pilots shared observations, engineers adjusted systems, and strategists planned for the next phase. Every part of humanity worked together, and every person contributed in some way. The fight was not just about weapons or technology. It was about courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to give up. By the end of the night, the Varix had learned a lesson they would never forget. Earth was not a planet to be conquered. Humans were not a species to be underestimated. And the force that had emerged from this small, seemingly insignificant world was a force that could challenge even the mightiest empires of the galaxy. The third part of Earth's story had been written, a story of courage. The morning sun rose over Earth, casting long shadows across cities and mountains. The planet was calm on the surface, but above, the battle had not ended. The Varix Galactic Empire had regrouped. They were angry, frustrated, and desperate. They had expected humans to surrender after the first encounters, but instead, they faced a species that refused to yield. They had lost ships, soldiers, and pride, and now they had to plan a new strategy. From their hidden command centers, humans monitored every movement. Satellites tracked alien ships, sensors scanned for weapons, and communication networks connected every base, every city, every pilot. Humans had turned Earth into a single organism, a planet-wide defense system that was almost impossible to defeat. Engineers recalibrated shields, scientists analyzed enemy signals, and pilots prepared for the next phase of the battle. Humanity had learned from every strike, every move of the Varix, and was ready to respond with even greater force. The Varix commanders, still confident in their strength, decided to test the humans. They launched a fleet toward the equator, hoping to catch humanity off guard. Energy beams cut across the sky, moving faster than anything humans had faced before. But Earth was ready. Quantum shields bent the beams harmlessly, diverting energy into the atmosphere. The attack caused no casualties, only a ripple of light that dazzled anyone looking at the sky. Humans watched in awe, but for them, this was only the beginning. Hidden cloaked ships began to move in response. They emerged, silently, invisible to alien sensors, and struck with deadly precision. Gravity lances disabled multiple enemy ships at once, and energy disruptors jammed alien engines, leaving squadrons drifting helplessly. The Varix had never faced a species that could strike with such coordination and speed. for every attack they made, humans had already planned a counter. They had turned the battlefield into a trap, guiding the enemy into areas where human technology was strongest. Even as orbital strikes continued, humans on the ground played their part. Engineers monitored every shield and weapon system, adjusting energy flow to maximize effectiveness. Scientists observed alien signals, decoding movements and predicting the next strike. Military strategists coordinated defenses, ensuring that every city, every base, every key resource was protected. Humanity's strength lay not just in technology, but in unity. Every person, whether they knew it or not, contributed to the defense of the planet. The aliens, frustrated by their failures, attempted a new tactic. They tried to land troops in remote areas, hoping to establish a foothold on the planet. But humans anticipated this. Hidden ground units, reinforced with energy shields and advanced weapons, intercepted every landing. Alien craft were disabled before touching soil, and soldiers were neutralized with precision. The Variks realized that they could not even set foot on Earth without facing overwhelming resistance. As the battle raged, humans showed another advantage: adaptability. The Variks changed formations, tried new attack angles, and attempted unpredictable maneuvers. But humans adapted instantly. Sensors tracked the smallest change in trajectory. Orbital weapons fired at exact coordinates, and cloaked ships moved to intercept threats. Every alien move was met with a calculated response. Humanity had become a force that could think, plan, and react faster than any invader could predict. Even in the chaos, humans remained calm and focused. Engineers repaired damaged systems, pilots restocked weapons, and strategists adjusted plans for the next wave. Every success was measured, every victory analyzed. Humans had learned that survival depended on foresight, preparation, and unity. Every citizen, whether in a control room or in a hidden bunker, played a role in the defense of the planet. This was not just a battle of weapons. It was a battle of intelligence, coordination, and human spirit. The Variks commanders, growing desperate, decided to attack cities directly. They launched massive energy beams toward major urban centers, believing that destruction would break human morale. But humans were ready. Shields absorbed the attacks, bending energy harmlessly around buildings. Stealth craft moved above cities, striking enemy ships before they could fire again. Civilians watched lights flash across the sky, some in fear, some in awe, but the reality was clear. Humans had control. Every attack was countered, every threat neutralized. Underground, engineers and scientists worked tirelessly. They monitored energy flows, adjusted shields, and recalibrated weapon systems. Drones relayed information to pilots in orbit, while satellites tracked enemy movements. Human command centers coordinated attacks across continents, turning Earth into a single, unified force. The planet itself seemed to respond to the humans' will, every natural force and resource used in harmony with their technology. The aliens, seeing repeated failures, began to panic. Ships drifted helplessly in orbit, engines offline, weapons jammed. They had expected easy victories, but every plan had failed. Pride turned into fear. The Variks had faced many worlds before, but none had resisted like this. They had underestimated humans, and now the consequences were clear. Every calculation, every assumption had been wrong. On the ground, civilians contributed in small but meaningful ways. Communication networks remained operational because technicians repaired damaged lines. Supplies reached safe zones because volunteers worked tirelessly. Even ordinary people, unaware of the full scale of the battle, helped protect their communities. Humanity's strength was not only in technology, but in courage, empathy, and cooperation. The aliens had thought fear would control humans, but instead, humans used unity as a weapon. Above, Orbital strikes intensified. Cloaked ships moved silently, striking enemy formations with perfect timing. Gravity lances tore through the Variks. Fleet disabling engines and weapons. Energy disruptors jammed alien sensors, leaving them blind and vulnerable. Every strike demonstrated human ingenuity, courage, and the ability to use the planet itself as a weapon. The Variks realized that they had underestimated not just humans, but the very force that drove them. The battle continued through the day. Every movement was calculated, every response coordinated. Humans had learned from previous attacks and adapted their strategy. Engineers adjusted shields to cover vulnerable areas. Scientists developed new energy pulses to disable enemy weapons. And pilots struck with pinpoint accuracy. The Variks had never encountered a species that could learn and adapt so quickly, and every hour brought new evidence of Earth's resilience. The aliens attempted a final maneuver, launching a concentrated attack on a single city. They believed that overwhelming force would succeed where smaller attacks had failed. But humans anticipated this. Orbital weapons targeted enemy ships with precision. Cloaked fighters intercepted incoming craft, and shields absorbed energy beams. The attack failed completely. The city remained intact, and the aliens suffered heavy losses. It became clear that no single maneuver could defeat Earth. By evening, the Variks fleet was in disarray. Their formations were broken, engines disabled, and morale shattered. They had learned that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. Humans were not a species to be underestimated. Every attempt to strike with superiority had failed. The Variks had faced resistance unlike anything in their history, and now they understood the cost of underestimating a determined and united species. In command centers, humans reviewed the battle's progress. Engineers repaired minor damages. Scientists analyzed alien strategies, and pilots prepared for the next engagement. Leaders coordinated every move, ensuring that humans remained one step ahead. Every person, every skill, every resource was part of the defense. Humanity had become more than just a species fighting for survival. It had become a force of intelligence, courage, and unity that the universe had never seen. The Variks commanders, desperate and humbled, realized that retreat might be the only option. They had underestimated the human strength, coordination, and ingenuity. Their arrogance had been shattered. They had faced a species that could predict, adapt, and strike, with precision unmatched in the galaxy. Earth was no longer a planet to be conquered. It was a planet to be respected and feared. Even as humans rested briefly, they knew that the battle was not over. Every victory was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity. Engineers recalibrated. Pilots prepared for the next strike, and strategists reviewed intelligence to anticipate the enemy's next move. Humans had proven their strength, but they also knew that the fight required constant vigilance, preparation, and unity. As night fell, the skies over Earth shimmered with the remnants of the battle. Floating debris marked destroyed ships, and faint lights traced the path of orbital strikes. Civilians watched in wonder, unaware of the full scope of the conflict, but proud of the unseen heroes who defended their world. Humanity had survived another day, stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. The Variks fleet, battered and confused, began to retreat. They had lost ships, soldiers, and pride. They had learned the hard way that humans were not to be underestimated. Every assumption about weakness and vulnerability had been proven wrong. Earth had shown that intelligence, courage, and unity could defeat even the most powerful invader. And in hidden command centers, humans prepared for the next phase. Every person, every skill, every resource would play a role. They had proven their strength, but the universe was watching, and humanity. The Variks Galactic Empire had suffered more losses than they expected. Their pride was shattered, their ships disabled, and their soldiers confused. Yet they refused to admit defeat. The invaders hovered above Earth, regrouping in small formations, trying desperately to find a weakness. Every calculation they made had failed, but the commanders refused to retreat entirely. They still believed that with enough force, they could overwhelm humans. But they had not yet learned the truth. Humans had prepared for this, and Earth itself was a weapon that could not be underestimated. On the surface, life seemed calm. Civilians moved carefully through cities, noticing the faint hum in the air and the shimmering lights above. Scientists explained the phenomena as energy fields and protective shields, but even they marveled at the way the systems worked in perfect harmony. Families huddled together in safe zones. Children looked at the sky in awe, and ordinary people felt the extraordinary presence of something unseen protecting them. Humanity had created a planet-wide defense system that was not only advanced but intuitive, reacting faster than anyone could anticipate. From command centers hidden deep underground, humans coordinated their next moves. Satellites tracked alien positions, and orbital drones relayed every change instantly. Engineers adjusted energy shields to cover weak points, while scientists monitored alien signals to predict the next attack. Pilots prepared stealth craft, ready to intercept enemy ships at a moment's notice. Humanity had become one organism, every part working in harmony to protect the planet. The Varix fleet decided to attempt another attack. They launched concentrated energy beams towards several major cities at once, hoping that a simultaneous strike would break the humans' defenses. But humans were ready. Quantum shields bent the energy harmlessly around the cities, protecting millions of lives. Cloaked ships moved silently in orbit, striking enemy vessels before they could even fire again. The aliens were stunned. Their most powerful weapons were useless against a planet that had prepared for everything. In orbit, human forces executed precise maneuvers. Cloaked fighters darted like shadows, attacking isolated groups of alien ships. Gravity lances tore through enemy hulls, disabling entire squadrons. Energy disruptors jammed alien engines and sensors, leaving ships drifting helplessly in space. Every strike was calculated, every move anticipated. The Varix had faced many civilizations before, but never one that could think, adapt, and strike with such efficiency. Even on the ground, humans were proving their strength. Hidden units intercepted enemy landing craft, neutralizing troops before they could touch Earth's soil. Engineers maintained energy barriers in key locations, keeping the planet safe from any potential invasion. Communication networks ensured that everyone involved, from pilots in orbit to teams in remote bunkers, had real-time information about every alien movement. Humans had not only prepared, they had mastered coordination, turning every person, every skill, every piece of technology into a weapon of defense. The Varix commanders, frustrated and desperate, tried a new tactic. They launched groups of smaller, faster ships, hoping that speed and numbers would overwhelm human defenses. But humans anticipated these maneuvers. Sensors detected changes in velocity, orbital weapons targeted enemy formations, and cloaked fighters intercepted the attackers. With precision, every move the aliens made was countered almost immediately. It became clear that Earth was not only defending, it was controlling the battle. Even as humans scored victories, they remained calm. Engineers repaired damaged systems. Pilots replenished. Weapons and strategists adjusted plans based on the latest intelligence. Every success was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to improve. Humans had learned that survival depended on unity, preparation, and constant adaptation. Every citizen, whether aware of the battle or not, was contributing in some way. The planet itself seemed to respond to their efforts. Every energy field, every shield, every weapon working together in harmony. The aliens attempted a new maneuver, concentrating attacks on key strategic points. They believed that destroying important targets would break human resistance. But the humans were ready. Shields absorbed energy beams, cloaked ships intercepted attackers, and orbital weapons struck enemy formations before they could reach their targets. Not a single city was lost, and alien losses were heavy. The Variks had underestimated humans in every way, and the consequences were becoming devastating for their fleet. As the battle continued, humans revealed yet another advantage: innovation. Engineers developed new energy pulses that could disable enemy ships for longer periods. Scientists analyzed alien technology, finding weaknesses they had not seen before. Pilots executed new maneuvers, striking in ways that the Variks could not predict. Humanity had become a species that could not only defend, but innovate in real time, using intelligence and creativity as weapons just as powerful as technology. Even in the midst of chaos, humans showed compassion. Civilians helped one another evacuate dangerous areas. Volunteers distributed supplies, and medical teams treated the injured. Humanity's strength was not only in technology, but in courage, empathy, and cooperation. The aliens had thought fear would control humans, but instead, humans had turned unity and intelligence into their greatest weapons. The Variks fleet, now fractured and battered, tried to regroup for a final assault. But humans anticipated this as well. Orbital weapons struck enemy ships before they could form proper formations. Cloaked fighters intercepted incoming vessels, and energy disruptors disabled key systems. The aliens had expected to control the battlefield, but humans had turned the battlefield into their own. Every move the Variks made was countered. Every attack neutralized. By midday, it was clear that the tide had turned completely. The Variks fleet was struggling to maintain coordination. Ships drifted helplessly in orbit, engines disabled, weapons jammed. Their soldiers, trained to conquer planets, found themselves powerless against a species they had underestimated. Every calculation they had made had failed. Every expectation had been shattered. They were facing a force they could neither understand nor defeat. Humans, on the other hand, were more focused than ever. Engineers adjusted shields and energy flows. Scientists decoded enemy communications, and pilots launched precise counterstrikes. Every person involved in the defense of Earth played a role. Every city, every hidden base, every resource contributed to the planet's strength. Humanity had proven that survival was not about raw power alone, but about intelligence, coordination, and determination. The aliens tried to retreat again, but not all of their ships survived. Cloaked human fighters struck stragglers, and orbital weapons disabled remaining engines. The Variks had expected victory, but instead they faced one of the most coordinated defenses in the galaxy. Their pride, built over centuries, had been shattered in a single day. Earth had shown that even the most powerful empire could be defeated with preparation, unity, and courage. As night fell, the skies above Earth shimmered with the remnants of the battle. Floating debris marked destroyed. Ships, streaks of light traced the paths of orbital strikes, and faint hums of energy filled the atmosphere. Civilians looked up in awe, some in fear, some in wonder, unaware of the full scope of the battle. Humans had survived another day, stronger and more prepared than ever. In hidden command centers, humans reviewed the battle's progress. Engineers repaired minor damages, pilots prepared for the next engagement, and strategists analyzed alien tactics. Leaders coordinated every action, ensuring that humanity remained one step ahead. Every person, every skill, every resource contributed to the defense. Humanity had not only survived, they had learned, adapted, and grown stronger. The Variks commanders, desperate and humbled, realized that further attacks would only result in more losses. They had underestimated humans at every turn. Every plan, every strategy, every assumption about weakness had been proven wrong. Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It was a force to be respected, even as humans rested briefly. They knew that the war was far from over. Every victory had been hard-earned, every success a result of preparation, coordination, and human ingenuity. Engineers recalibrated shields, pilots restocked weapons, and strategists reviewed data for the next phase. Humanity had proven its strength, but they also knew that vigilance was the key to survival. The fifth part of Earth's story had been written, a story of strategy, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. The Varix Galactic Empire had learned the hard way that humans were not to be underestimated. They had faced a species that could think, adapt, and strike with precision unmatched in the galaxy. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a symbol of intelligence, unity, and determination. The Varix Galactic Empire had finally begun to understand the truth. Earth was not a planet to be taken lightly. The aliens had expected a simple victory, but instead they faced a species that could think, adapt, and fight with unparalleled determination. Their fleets were scattered, engines disabled, and weapons jammed. Pride had turned into desperation, and for the first time, the invaders feared a species they once dismissed as weak. From hidden command centers on Earth, humans coordinated every move with unmatched precision. Satellites scanned the remnants of the alien fleet, drones relayed critical data, and engineers ensured that energy shields were fully operational. Scientists monitored alien communications, analyzing weaknesses that could be exploited further. Every city, every base, every citizen played a role. Humanity had transformed itself into a single, cohesive force, working together to defend their home. The aliens attempted one last coordinated strike. They aimed their remaining ships at key human cities, hoping that overwhelming force could force surrender. Energy beams streaked across the sky, faster than anything ever witnessed on Earth, but humans were ready. Shields bent the beams harmlessly. Cloaked ships moved silently to intercept attackers, and orbital weapons disabled enemy craft before they could reach their targets. Every attack failed, leaving the Varix stunned and demoralized, even as humans defended. They did more than react, they took control of the battle. Stealth fighters emerged from orbit, striking alien vessels with precision. Gravity lances tore through hulls, disabling entire squadrons. Energy disruptors jammed sensors and engines, leaving ships drifting helplessly in space. Every move humans made was calculated and deliberate. The aliens had relied on brute force and arrogance, but Earth had proven that intelligence, adaptability, and unity were stronger weapons than anything they had brought. On the ground, humans continued to work tirelessly. Engineers adjusted energy flows, ensuring that shields remained strong across all key locations. Scientists decoded enemy tactics, predicting movements before the aliens could act. Communication networks connected every unit, every pilot, every engineer, every strategist, creating a synchronized defense that the Varix could not penetrate. Even civilians contributed. Some volunteered to maintain equipment. Others helped distribute supplies, and everyone followed safety protocols that allowed the military to operate efficiently. The Varix commanders, realizing the failure of their strike, began to panic. Ships that had once symbolized power and domination now drifted helplessly in orbit. Their soldiers, trained for conquest, could do nothing against the invisible, perfectly coordinated human defenses. Every assumption they had made about Earth and its inhabitants had been wrong. They had underestimated the intelligence, ingenuity, and resilience of humanity. As the battle continued, humans revealed yet another advantage: anticipation. They had studied the enemy carefully, learned from every previous encounter, and developed systems that could predict alien moves. Orbital weapons fired precisely where they were needed. Cloaked fighters intercepted ships as soon as they changed course. Energy disruptors disabled new weapons as soon as they were activated. Humans had transformed Earth into a living, thinking defense network, using every resource available to protect their planet. Even as the battle raged, humanity's spirit remained unbroken. Civilians helped one another evacuate dangerous areas. Volunteers delivered food and medicine, and doctors treated the injured without hesitation. Humanity's strength was not only in technology, but in courage, empathy, and unity. The Variks had thought fear would control humans, but instead, humans had turned coordination, intelligence, and determination into their greatest weapons. Aliens tried to retreat, but not all of their ships could escape. Cloaked human fighters struck stragglers, and orbital weapons disabled engines that were still functional. Entire squadrons drifted helplessly, unable to regroup. The Variks had expected to dominate the planet easily, but now they faced the reality of total defeat. Their pride, their strategy, and their assumptions had all been shattered by the ingenuity and unity of humanity. By midday, the skies above Earth were filled with the remnants of the alien fleet. Streaks of light marked destroyed ships, floating debris drifted silently, and the low hum of energy shields filled the air. Civilians looked up in awe, sensing that something extraordinary had occurred. Humanity had survived another day, but this time the victory was clear. The invaders had been repelled, and Earth had proven that it could not be conquered. From command centers, humans coordinated final strikes to ensure that the remaining alien ships would not recover. Engineers adjusted shields to protect key cities, while orbital weapons disabled remaining engines. Cloaked fighters struck isolated ships, ensuring no escape. Scientists monitored alien signals, confirming that the invaders were scrambling and disorganized. Every action was deliberate, precise, and coordinated. Humanity was not only defending, they were ending the threat. The Variks commanders, now desperate, attempted to negotiate, sending messages to Earth. But humans, united and resolute, refused to entertain surrender. The message was simple. Earth would not be conquered, and any further attacks would be met with the full strength of human ingenuity and unity. The aliens, humbled and defeated, had no choice but to retreat from the planet. Even as the Variks fleet retreated into space, humans remained vigilant. Satellites tracked every movement, and hidden sensors ensured that no alien ship could return without warning. Engineers repaired minor damages, scientists analyzed enemy technology, and pilots maintained readiness. Every citizen, every unit, every resource contributed to keeping Earth safe. Humanity had survived not only because of technology, but because of courage, determination, and unity. In the days following the battle, the planet slowly returned to normal. Cities that had been threatened were intact. The energy shields gradually powered down, and life resumed its rhythm. People celebrated quietly, aware that they had witnessed history. Humanity had faced one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy, and survived. They had done more than defend their planet. They had proven that intelligence, unity, and courage could overcome even the greatest challenges. Scientists and engineers continued to study alien technology, gaining knowledge that would advance humanity far beyond anything previously imagined. Pilots shared experiences, refining strategies for future defense. Leaders coordinated plans to ensure Earth would always be ready for threats. Humanity had learned valuable lessons about preparation, adaptation, and the importance of working together. The Variks Galactic Empire, once confident and proud, had learned a lesson they would never forget. They had underestimated humans, assumed weakness where there was strength, and arrogance where there was intelligence. Every calculation had failed. Every expectation had been shattered. Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It was a symbol of courage, ingenuity, and resilience. And on Earth, people looked to the skies with confidence. They had faced the greatest threat imaginable and survived. They had learned that even when the odds seemed impossible, unity, intelligence, and determination could overcome anything. Humanity had not only protected their planet, they had shown the galaxy that Earth was a force to be reckoned with. The final part of Earth's story had been written, a story of courage, strategy, and the unbreakable human spirit. Humans had faced an empire, defended their home, and emerged victorious. The Varroks had learned that underestimating humans was a mistake they would never repeat. Earth had proven that it could withstand any challenge, not through brute force alone, but through preparation, unity, and intelligence. As the sun set, casting golden light across the planet, humanity celebrated, not with arrogance, but with quiet pride. They had faced a seemingly invincible enemy and survived. Engineers, scientists, pilots, and civilians alike shared a moment of victory, knowing that together they had achieved the impossible. The planet was safe for now, but humanity had proven that no force, no matter how powerful, could ever underestimate the strength and spirit of those who call Earth home. And so, the story ended with a lesson written across the stars. Earth was not just a planet. It was a home worth defending, a species worth respecting, and a force capable of shaping the galaxy. The humans had won not because they were strongest, but because they were united, intelligent, and courageous. The universe had witnessed the rise of a species that could never be conquered, and Earth's place among the stars was forever secure.